So guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're talking about my DJ Mag Breakthrough Producer of the Year Award. I've got a friend behind the camera who's gonna ask me some questions. I'm gonna talk a bit about the award. And yeah, we'll start off with explaining what it actually is. DJ Mag, a famous British music magazine, well, international in fact, nominated me around November time. I was about to board a flight and my manager sent me a screenshot of an email saying you've been nominated for this. Didn't know what it was, clicked on it. I was like, holy, I've just been nominated. Breakthrough Producer of the Year Award, which was a nice touch because, there's always a thing where people make a thing against awards, things like that. But I can guarantee when you get nominated for one, you kind of feel pretty good. It felt like some recognition from a bigger institution that I'd not really had before. And I've always thought of myself as a DJ, not a producer. So the 2024 year was a bit of a transition away from what I previously kind of identified myself as. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. It was nominations, then votes, and I came out on top. And where was I when I found out I won? Because they email you before the actual award ceremony to tell you you've won, because I don't actually know why they do that. I think it was during Art Basel in Miami that I found out. So we had many reasons to celebrate. And unfortunately, when the actual award ceremony was given, I was not there. So I couldn't go and collect it. Kurt did, which you can see there right now. And yeah, I now have it. I think it's a pretty cool accolade. It sits nicely over there. But yeah, in the meantime, I'm going to answer some questions. And if you've got any actually below the video, feel free to ask away. It is actually very, very heavy, guys. If I drop this now, it's got a bit of a bang to it. It's got some weight to it. So yeah. DJing is so subjective. I mean, so is producing. Streams aren't everything, but I think when the numbers start to go up on Spotify, the monthly listeners, the monthly streams, you know you're doing something right. DJing, I guess you just know you're doing something right when you're getting bigger and bigger gigs, but I think a lot of what drives you forward as an artist is the releases you put out. But yeah, I think the fact the numbers were going up, it was a cool feeling. It felt like almost a measurable way to know I was making progress as a producer. So yeah, I think you can see my 12-month growth on Spotify here, which is mind-blowing. Oh, what a question, what a question. I did a session with Prosper about 6 months ago now, and he made a track, You Don't Own Me, which has gone pretty big. They're very experienced in working with vocalists, so they very much get straight into the meat of the track. So a song in a more traditional sense, you hear it on the radio, you don't have like a 1-minute intro, whereas previously, I'd always kind of naturally assumed that a tune has to have a 1-minute intro. Whereas more recently, when creating tracks, I'm just getting straight into the thick of it. So maybe 8 bars, and then the bass is in, and there's a vocal going, and there's a hook, blah, blah, blah. There's not like this big introduction, which previously I was doing. So I would say now when I'm making music, I'm not thinking about streaming. I just think naturally the music I'm making, I'm trying to push it forward. So a big thing here, guys, is I'm trying to push myself as an artist to work with more vocalists, more musicians. It's not like, oh, I'm trying to make music just for streaming or whatever. That's not the case. By default, you tend to lean towards focusing on something which is like 3 minutes and really catchy first, and then making it extended. Whereas previously, I would make something that was like 6 minutes, then try and condense it down. But I really am intrigued with how far I could potentially take the music in general, potentially outside of the club. Who knows? I'm never going to be some pop star, and that's not what I intend on doing. But it's cool to see music have crossover. I was on Radio 1 the other week, and I spoke about I'd love to get a daytime Radio 1 play, but while still staying true to myself. Porter did it this year. I think he had 3 tunes in the top 40 of the UK charts. Now, I think that is impressive as fuck. Some people may say, I don't give a fuck about that. But personally, after 13 years of making music, things like that, I'm like, that is really cool. It's a really exciting challenge. I'm not making music to get daytime plays. That's not what the objective is. I think it's cool if you make something and it can then fit in DC10 and on the radio. I mean, that's a really cool space to kind of lean into. I mean, I made some tracks 2 weeks ago with 2 UK grime artists, 2 separate tracks. One very, very established female artist. I'm not going to name drop anyone. Then another female artist who not as established, but fucking insane. I worked with 2 producers as well, writing with artists. and one of which had won a Grammy, one of which had won like all sorts of awards. And it opened my eyes to the possibilities that are out there, collaborating with these people. And it's a bit, I hate the phrase imposter syndrome. I fucking hate that phrase. But I did have that a bit, to be fair. Like I'd started some sketches, went in with these vocalists, and I have ideas in my head, and I'm trying to say like, okay, try this, try that. It takes some time to get used to it, because if I'm in a room with someone that's really inexperienced, like I definitely take the lead in the sessions. Whereas in these sessions, I was a bit like, how do I even know what's right? But like my management even just said, like, you've got what they believe is good taste. Well, they believe I've got good taste, sorry. And they said, make sure you lean into that and believe in that, because that's truly what's going to create something unique in the future. Like if I now regress my taste to what I think everyone else is going to think I should like, by default, it's just going to become vanilla and boring. So I need to make sure I try and combine these interests that I have with different kind of genres, vibes. I think what I'm making is interesting. You'll all hear it soon. I've decided not to post any previews on SoundCloud anymore, or like TikTok, especially in this stage of a producer I am. I think it's important to get the work kind of to a point where you think this is actually finished and done, because it's a new level. Whereas before I was very happy to kind of share sketches as we went, like half jobs almost. I think the pressure I'm feeling now is that there's a certain level of expectation of what I will produce. And also when a DJ, especially playing headline shows, most people expect a certain thing. So it makes it harder to take risks and things like that. Then producing is kind of the same, right? But that's what I mean when I say I'm stopped posting what I'm working on at the moment, because I do think this is going to be a different level to what I've shown previously. And it's because I can take my time a bit more now. I would say I feel less pressure as a producer now in a way, because I'm entering a world in which I'm kind of openly being a white belt. Like I'm quite openly saying, okay, I've not worked with many vocalists before. I'm trying it out and see what happens. Whereas the DJing kind of, it's the complete opposite. It's there, like there is a lot of pressure because you're entering the word headliner, I guess, territory. Whereas producer, I still feel like I'm a complete white belt. Depends how you look at it. I could be looked at someone like an established producer within underground house music, but then if you look at the fucking radio, like I've just mentioned, I'm not a daytime radio one play. So like I don't feel like there's any pressure in that kind of world at all. Yeah, so you and me last year, a big part of our strategy was to be consistent with releases. I see a lot of labels who do cool stuff, but they're not consistent enough. Then I see some labels maybe release too much. I think one release a month is a good cadence if you can find good stuff. If someone can literally open their phone and have a touch point with your brand at any time of the day, it's only going to help grow it. They're going to share the music, they're going to talk about the music and all this kind of stuff. So we had some huge releases, Jamie Fielding, Sydney Charles, myself, the LP Rhythm one. We were the best-selling label in the end on Beatport for the genre. I was the best-selling artist for the genre as well. So when some people kind of like speculate how things blow up, if people fuck with what you're doing in terms of the productions, etc., it's going to really help. I think it's because people can listen to it all the time. But yeah, the Yumi definitely helped the whole thing. I did an EP on there December, which did pretty well as well. That went to #1. So yeah. So we're going to start a new label this year, which will be focused on singles. This will just be able to give each track more room. I noticed last year that when I did do the singles, Summit to Me, Misleading, Bass Up to the Top, they just did better really than doing EPs. Obviously, you can just put more effort into the marketing. It's more concentrated. So I'm probably going to do 3 singles before summer. I'll share with you in no particular order, thrown in a bag, back it up, leave a message, and the one with Prosper, hopefully. I'm sat on a lot of other music. Maybe I'll make an alias. I've been thinking that today. Some of the stuff that the heads like. Too much music to put out. But then I did 5 tunes last week in London with different people, each day different artist. So I've got a lot of music. How I want to put it out, I'm not too sure. I'm definitely not ready for an album yet, which, that idea gets chucked around. I think this year will be kind of telling in how and when I do that. The priority list of things to do, it's #1 is going to be make music. Whereas last year, if someone said, what you doing Tuesday, like this kind of thing, recording content, I would have said, yeah, I can do this, and I'd have moved the production day. Now it's the production day. This is there is no budging. So guys, that was a little whistle-stop tour of how I won the Best of British Breakthrough Producer. Hopefully you enjoyed that video. Like, comment, subscribe. If there's any more topics or conversations around this kind of thing you want to see, this casual sat on the server talking stuff, please comment below. And yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Peace.